Hey, welcome back. So in this video we're going to be installing the bathroom sink and cabinet that I bought from TJ Maxx. I bought a little sink to go on top of it and then put them together and put all the plumbing in it, and it made for a pretty cool little sink. So I was going to show you that today, and then also you can see the trailer behind me is pretty much done. This is down the road, but I did want to show the installation of the bathroom sink and how it all turned out. So we'll check it out real quick and then we'll get into the build. So you can see right here how it turned out. I had a tight little space for it to go in, and it worked out pretty good. I bought the bottom end from TJ Maxx, I think, and then I got the sink itself from Amazon, and also the faucet and everything. And then I did have to make a few modifications for the drawer, and also I put all the plumbing in down here, and then I just hung a little towel rack on the side of it with a 3M strip. So I like how the way it turned out. It's pretty small, and like I said, I needed it small for that space. So I hope you liked the video. Until then, I'll see you in the next one. So today I'm going to mount the sink onto the pedestal that I bought. I was trying to figure out how to do because I need a very small sink in the small space that I have for the bathroom. So I found this tiny little sink on Amazon, and then I went and actually found at TJ Maxx this bottom cabinet, and it's actually got a like a quartz top on it that's white. I was going to change out the top, but I couldn't find the right sizing, so I just decided to keep it. And the plans are to mount the sink to the top, and then I'm going to mount the whole thing, cabinet and sink, both to the wall of the trailer. So this is what I've got so far. So you can see right now, this is my little cabinet that I bought. It's got a little drawer in it. I will be having to modify that for the plumbing that comes down through the sink, so that's not a problem. And then it's got this open space underneath here that you can open. And again, I'll modify that shelf underneath and the bottom floor for the plumbing to go through the bottom and eventually down through the trailer. So this is what it looks like. Pretty cool little unit. This one cost me, I think it was $150, but by the time I did all the labor to try to build another cabinet and all the painting and all the trim work, I think I probably would have been really close to that number anyway. So this is what I've got so far. This is my little sink. It's all porcelain. I've got a cool little faucet that goes with it, and the sink did come with all of the plumbing down inside. So here's my plan. We'll set this over here. And this is where the sink will sit. So you can see right here, this is where the main drain would go. And then the faucet hole, which I didn't draw out, will go right here. So the plan is, I also need access to the sink so I can reach up through the base here and tighten the bolts to the wall to make sure that the sink is mounted securely to the face of the wall. So right now I taped all this out. I drew all this out right here. This tells me where my marks are for my drill bit, and then I'm going to be cutting. I'll put 4 holes in it at each corner. I bought a diamond tipped 1 1/4 hole saw. I'll cut out the holes, and then I also bought a diamond tipped blade on a cutoff wheel blade, and I'll cut out the rest of the square with that blade and hopefully knock this whole center out, and that'll give me the access that I need for the holes coming up through the bottom and the room that I need to mount the sink on once I get it mounted. So hopefully everything works the way that I'm planning. We'll see how that goes, and I'll film everything as I'm cutting it out. So I'll see you there. Okay, so I kind of already started. I did get one hole made. I just wanted to show you what I got so far. This is a diamond tipped hole saw, and it's a special bit for going through like rock and so forth. I did have this in my toolbox. It does work. It may not be the right one, but it did get through the marble. So that was a cool thing to get through for the pilot hole. So we'll go ahead and drill some more, and I'll show you how it's done. So ultimately I would be doing this on a drill press, but because the cabinet's so tall, it would almost be impossible for me to try to get it mounted. I'd have to take the whole top off and everything, and just trying to save a little time. So this way is the alternative. You just have to use a drill and go slow, and I will let my drill cool off now until I drill the next hole, and we'll go ahead and cut out right here. And I'll come back when I have all 4 holes drilled, and then we'll start using the saw to start cutting the straight lines. So we'll come back then. Okay, just another update on the sink real quick. I went ahead and put all the pieces together on the sink, so the drain and the faucet, you can see that. I built all that first before I attempted to mount this thing to the cabinet that I'm about to mount it to. Simply for right now, I have it all wide open, and it would just be a lot easier right now to install everything this way. Eventually I will have to change out that faucet maybe someday, or fix a leak, but at least today I won't have to struggle, and that'll be another day. So right now what we're going to do is we're going to glue the top or the porcelain sink onto the top that I bought. And I've been using this product, Loctite Power Grab, Ultimate Power Grab. And I've already glued the top down already to the basin. And I know the cuts that you're looking at are pretty grotesque and ugly. But the reason I didn't really clean them up is I didn't want to spend a lot of time handling this top because of how thin it is right through here. And I was going to start cleaning it up, and I kind of started getting worried about possibly cracking this thing, and then I'd have to start over or go buy another top and start over again. So the reason I'm leaving it that way is because the sink over there is going to be covering all of that, and you will never see this once the top is put down. So that's kind of that's the reasoning behind not doing a lot of finish work on the opening that I made for access to the bottom of that sink, because you're just never going to see it, and I just didn't want a chance breaking that top. Alright, so I've already marked out where the sink wants to live. You can see this little black line right here. And I also did that so that when I do apply the glue, it doesn't come squishing out on the finished side, or when it does come out on the finished side, I'm going to be able to clean it up on the top of the tape and not ruin the top of my tabletop here. Once I'm done gluing everything and everything's mounted in place, then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and take just some white caulking and put it around that basin edge, and that should cover everything up. Alright, so I've already kind of marked out where I need the glue and whatnot, so we're just going to go for it. And we're just going to make a bead all the way around. Just make a nice horseshoe bend here. And I know here I got more glue written because the porcelain sink isn't really flush right there on the bottom, so there's a little bit of a gap. So just to be sure that I've made that gap, set her down. So I'm just going to line up my marks. Just let it drop in there. So one thing too I wanted to be sure of is I wanted to make sure that the back of the sink and the back of the cabinet are hitting the wall at the same place. So I don't want the sink sticking back too far or too far forward and I have a gap. And I did notice that the center of the sink in the middle does bow in a little bit, so I'm not so worried about that as I am the sides, and making sure that the back of the cabinet lines up with the side or the back of the hutch, if you will. So once we get this all figured out and we let that settle just a little bit, I'm going to keep measuring with my level just to make sure that down here, this line and the top right here are all in line together, so that when I do mount it to the wall on the trailer, everything's going to be flush against the back wall there. And this right here is where I'm also going to possibly come in and sink studs in the wall, and I will be able to screw in a mount to mount the sink to the wall. And I'm also going to screw the cabinet in 4 places to the wall itself. So this thing shouldn't go anywhere. Today what I'm just trying to do is make it all one. And then that way it'll be a full and complete sink, and then all I got to do is install the whole unit instead of having to try to build it all little by little and piece by piece. So I'm not going to worry a whole lot about putting a lot of weight on the sink itself because this is porcelain and it's pretty heavy. And I would actually be afraid of adding too much weight to it, and then I actually wind up squishing out all of my adhesive I just put on there, because I do want a bed of adhesive on there to hold everything nice and tight. So over time, it'll actually settle down with the weight of itself, because it is pretty heavy. So we're going to let this dry and cure up. I am going to take the tape off here in just a minute, because I want to take that off while the glue is still wet. I don't want to try to take it off while the glue's hardened, because then that'll lock the tape in there, and then I'll have a real hard time just trying to get the tape edge out of the seam there. So we will be taking the tape out here in just a minute when I'm sure that this thing isn't moving around a lot and I got it set where I want it. Alright, so we're just going to let that dry, and once it cures and everything looks good, like I said, I can add the bead of caulking to the back of it there, or to the bottom of it, and then I can also start working on the drawer and cutting that down so that it fits back in the slot, because right now you can see we're not going to have much of a drawer in this area right here because of all the plumbing. So I can either cut a slot. I can either cut a slot in the drawer itself to accept that and go all the way back, or I can bring the whole back of the drawer itself just to this face right here and just make it a very short little drawer just for little things or whatnot. I could even just glue the drawer front to this, and it's just it'll just be a faux front, but I think I kind of want a drawer there just for some little things, so we'll see. But we'll come back when everything's all dried out, and then I'll start working on the drawer. Okay, so I just wanted to go over what I did to finish up the project and let you see it for the final. So all I did was I went in here, I had to fix the drawer so it'll accept the plumbing inside here, and all I did was literally cut out with my skill saw a square that I needed for the plumbing, and then I went and bought some treated 3.5 inch particle board basically, and it was already primed white, but I did paint the ends white and whatnot. But I built out a little box, I glued it down, and I also nailed it with my finish nailer. So what that'll do now is give me a usable drawer, and things won't drop off on the inside, and I'll still be able to have the plumbing inside, and it'll clear everything. What I'm going to do later is I'll come in and I'm not going to drill any of the holes for the J-pipe or anything like that yet until I've got it going into the trailer, because I don't know exactly where the drain hole is going to fit through until I find out where my hole in the floor goes for the plumbing into the holding tank. So I'm going to hold off on that, but I've got a finished unit basically all the way down to even the connections for the faucet, and I did make a hole in the back as well. And you can just see real quick kind of how it turned out. You can see in the back there's the little hole that I hogged out. I just took two hole saws, or a hole saw, I made two holes, and then I connected them in the middle. This will be buried against the back of the wall, and you really won't ever see this anyway. The final step that I did this morning was I came in here and I just added white caulking to the joint right here and just finished it off, and that way no water or any gunk will get up underneath there. So I think it turned out pretty good. I don't know what I would have spent on this if I had bought this, tried to buy this like brand new from the store, completely finished. But in all, I think I spent probably about $250 maybe for everything. I don't know. But I got what I wanted, and I didn't have to go buy what somebody had. So I like how it turned out. So that's it for this little project, and we'll be going on to the next.